right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Sky's the Limit podcast. I am your host, Mike Doherty, and today we have Robert Howell of Howell and Sons LLC. Robert's a real estate investor focused on affordable housing through mobile home parks and land home development, something we haven't really talked about a lot in the podcast, so excited for that. He's owned over 250 lots across the Southeast, and he now teaches others how to build wealth with land home deals while creating meaningful impact in the community. So, Robert, welcome. Thank you for coming on the show.
Appreciate you having me, Michael. Excited to be here
Yeah.
today.
So tell me what land home developments are, what specifically you're doing. I don't know too much about that whole niche of real estate. That's what I love about real estate. There's so many different avenues. So tell me, like, give me the breakdown of what you're doing.
All right. Good deal. I can do that. And I'll simplify it. It's actually pretty simple overall, but I'll simplify it. At the base of it is really just affordable housing. And we're offering a solution to consumers, to buyers, typically first-time homeowners, to buy their very first home, which is the part that I love about it. But in terms of logistically, what that looks like is we purchase raw land, typically raw land, across South Carolina, across the Southeast is where I operate. And we cleared the land, and then we put a brand new manufactured home. Some people call it mobile home. Some people from way back call it a trailer, but it's manufactured home that's manufactured in factory, typically a regional factory, and they make the home and then ship it directly to our parcel. And then we set that home up, we block and tie it down, we trim it out, get it all ready for the homeowner, and then we list that as a package together, the land and the home together. And like I mentioned, we're typically selling that to a first time homeowner that is buying their very first house.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. So I know a lot of mobile home operators will lease the mobile home and land to someone, and that's to me probably one of the holy grails of commercial real estate is you own the ground lease, and so you have them leasing back that mobile home from you. Any reason why you sell the home and the land versus just leasing that out?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I do that, the leasing of the land as a strategy also, and my mobile home parks, but that's really like a long term strategy for me. Um, and, it's good to be honest, like you make money, but it's more of a long term focus for me when the loans are paid off on the parks and can be a good retirement. Whereas this is more my day to day. And by selling the land and the home together, as an investor, there's more money to be made than simply just as a rental unit. And
Yeah.
also, we're giving people an opportunity to buy their first house, which I really like.
Yeah, no, makes complete sense. So with that, buying the raw land, developing the land, how many homes on average are you putting on, this parcel of land?
Typically, just one parcel
Oh,
for one
okay.
house. And sometimes we will subdivide the parcel. So there are instances where we may buy a 5 or 10 acre tract, subdivide that into 5 lots or 10 lots or maybe even 20 lots, and then put houses on it. But we're still just selling an individual parcel with an individual house.
Oh, I'm thinking it's like in my head, I'm thinking a mobile home park. Like you're buying, you're putting 15, 20 of these manufactured homes on the land. Maybe you have a little community hut of some sort, laundry room that everyone has access to, maybe a bocce court, and then you're selling the individual plots with the parks. But you're basically you're developing, you're buying the land, you're doing the manufactured home as if any kind of luxury developer would buy the land and build, a 4,000 square foot home. You're just doing it on a smaller scale. It's more affordable to first time home buyers.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, think of it as
Ah,
a site built spec house, except you're using a manufactured house instead.
got it. And so what's it generally cost to buy the land, clear it, get the utilities hooked up, and then buy the manufactured home and have your guys set it up? Like from start to finish, what do you think you're all in per home?
Yeah, that's a great question. Typically, we're between 125 and 175 in all in costs, 125,000, 175,000 all in
All right,
costs.
so
That includes the land, the home, the
yeah.
development.
And so let's use 150 as an average. What are you selling that home for?
Yeah, if we've invested 150, we're going to try to sell that home for about 225.
Okay. All right. Yeah, very affordable, and that would pass any, VA or FHA, a lot of first-time home buyer loan, lender programs. It would obviously everything's brand new, so no issues there, right?
That's right. Yeah. So through the process, what we'll do is we'll get it set up, get it trimmed out, and then we're going to have a HUD inspection at the end. And I don't know if it's like this with site built housing, but basically what happens is an engineer comes out to the site, he or she inspects the home, makes sure that it's set up for the HUD guidelines, according to the HUD guidelines. And then if it is, then he'll give us a letter that's stamped and says, hey, as an engineer, I certify that this follows all HUD guidelines. And then that's enough for a lender to then loan. HUD is VA, USDA, first time homeowner, FHA.
Yeah. So that makes complete sense. So some people might, listening to this might be saying, well, why don't you just work with a builder and they can build, custom homes for people and maybe make a bigger spread. And one of the reasons that, I'm thinking is there's probably a lot less moving parts when you're just buying a pre-manufactured home and you just kind of plop down. You don't have to deal with a lot of supply chain issues or nearly as much supply chain issues. At least up here in the Northeast, you can't really start digging until it's warm out. The ground's
Right.
frozen. Probably don't have, you have less to deal with there. Less goes wrong, right? Your
That's right.
margins maybe be a little bit smaller, but your risk reward, it's all relative.
You're exactly spot on. I think there's a few things. There is one, it's faster doing
Yeah.
manufactured housing, a lot faster. I can order a house today, I can get delivered in a week and a half, 2 weeks,
Wow.
completely built, ready to deliver to the parcel. Now it takes me once it arrives to the parcel, it takes me about another month to really have it ready to sell. Whereas a home is going to take 6 to 9 months. A site built house, right, is going to take 6 to 9 months, maybe longer, and it's going to be built out in the conditions, out in the rain. There's a lot of
Hmm.
surprises that could happen, right? With a manufactured housing, I would say I don't know 75% of the process is done in a factory, and I just take and do the rest of the 25%.
Wow. How are you financing these manufactured homes? Are there lenders out there that'll give you a loan to go buy the house? I mean, the land you're probably buying cash, but how are you financing the actual manufactured homes?
Yeah, so when we got started, like, I don't know, call it 5 years ago, it was actually really hard to find a lender. There wasn't many lenders that were lending on this. And what we've seen is like as lenders have gotten used to it and got more comfortable with the process, then they're more willing to lend on it. And so now we use a combination of private lenders, banks, and hard money.
Wow, interesting. Okay. Do you get, because you're going the affordable route, do you get grants from local government agencies?
We don't do that currently. It's something that we've looked into. Um, but one of the things that happens when you get a grant is it puts a restriction on you in terms of who you can sell to. And so we just don't want to have that restriction. Right now, we're not having a problem getting lending, not having a problem finding buyers. And we feel like adding an additional limiting factor could add additional risks that aren't necessary. But there are
Yeah.
quite a few, whether it be grants or lower cost lending, that you can take advantage of if you're doing land home packages.
Yeah. So now what's the end game? Do you treat this it's active real estate investor job, we're gonna call it. Like you have to find the land, buy the land, get it zoned for, single family home use if it isn't already in that, zoning, deal with the manufacturer, have your builders install it, and then go sell it, right? So, that whole process could take, up to 6 months maybe.
That's
Um,
right.
that's an active job. You're trading, one kind of W-2 or 1099 job for this, and it's active income. Is your goal to main goal to do enough of these to make, a good amount of money to then go invest that money in long-term wealth building, owning maybe mobile home parks because you're so familiar with them? Or do you invest your capital that your profits you make in other longer term wealth? I mean that's multifamily, maybe it's self-storage, industrial. Like what's your whole process?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's a good thought process, especially as we're sitting here a few days after tax bills were due, right?
Hmm.
Um, so for me, what I try to do, and I'm not perfect at it, is try to make this active income as as fast and as big as I can, right? And then with that income, I'll go and buy mobile home parks and use all the tax advantages of mobile home parks to write down my taxes and build that long term wealth and long term appreciation in the mobile home parks, value creation that I can create, and tax reduction by using bonus depreciation and cost segregation studies.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, I just did it. I did it in the office building I'm sitting in here. My partner and I bought a 10,000 square foot office building here in Farmington, Connecticut, maybe 3 years ago or so. And we did a full cost seg study on it this year, and I saved $40,000 in my
That's
taxes this
huge.
year.
That's
Yeah, it's
huge.
massive. I did it to my wife's 4 unit this year. Saved not as much, but hey, every little bit helps. And it's a pretty easy process. I mean, there's not much you and I have to do. I mean, you hire the cost seg company and they do their analysis. They write the report, give it to your accountant, and he does. He punches in the numbers and tells you how much you owe or don't owe. Right? It's it's
Yeah,
it's pretty cut and dry, and that's the whole point for the listeners is that Robert, if he was just selling the, manufacturer homes, he's going to have a huge, if you're making 75, 100 grand every time you do it, roughly, I mean, you're looking at a huge taxable liability and probably at a 30% tax bracket. I mean, you're just trading one job for another, but that's where now you're doing that, but on the side, you're taking that capital and you're buying real estate. And whether you're a mobile home park guy or not, you could be buying multifamily, you could be buying commercial office, you could be buying triple net lease, industrial, um, anything you want to. That's the wealth building strategy. You have the income building strategy here. Okay, how do I make money to go buy more properties? This is how I do it. So, no, I love it. That's really cool. So, what's your goal? What's the end goal? Is the end goal to, keep buying the land and manufactured home, and eventually, when you have enough capital and you have enough mobile home parks, hang it up, or what's the end goal for the LLC in the business?
that's a good question and one that probably changes on a weekly basis as I just try to decide what's the right move. Right? We last year we did about 50 of these land home packages. This year we'll probably do about 100. And I was having a conversation yesterday or last week with guy that I work with. It's like, man, I just don't know. Should I just go back and do 25 of these and I'll make a really good living? And if I was doing 25 of these a year, I really wouldn't work that much. Maybe 10 hours a week or 10 hours a month. Sorry. But at the same time, you think about God's given you this talent and this ability to go out and give people affordable housing and have great interactions with people, and do you just continue to grow and scale it? And I don't have the answer to that just yet. I do know my youngest son is he's a freshman in high school, and my original thought was, hey, let me just work as hard as I can for the next 3 years, and then when he goes off to college, then work. I become more work optional, right? Um, but I love what I'm doing. I love the stories of people moving into affordable housing that never thought they could afford a house. So probably continue to do it. I don't know at what scale, but I could see
Hmm.
myself continuing to do it, whether it be 3 a year when I'm 70 or 100 a year. I don't know with the right team, of course.
Hmm.
But I enjoy it. I love it. And as long as the opportunity exists, I think we'll just keep going.
Super cool. What would you say the first thing, if someone's like, man, that sounds so cool. How do I get invited? What's the first thing I would have to do to start doing what you're doing? Like, I don't, I have to go find the land. Okay. Are you finding the lands on market? Do you have relationships with brokers that are bringing you the land because you're such a strong operator? Where are you finding the land?
Yeah, so the very first step is just to find land. And
Right.
people I talk to all the time that are saying, "Hey, teach me how to do this. How do I do land home packages?" I'm like, "Look, go find land and then let's have a conversation." Because if you can find land and you can find good deals on land, then you can make this work, and it's really not that hard after that. But to answer your question in terms of where do you find land, land's available everywhere. The nice thing about land is most of it is not emotional. Whereas if I'm flipping houses and I'm going to try to buy your house that you grew up in, that's an emotional decision, and there's lots of competition. But with
Hmm.
land, there's not as much competition, and I can find it everywhere. So I work with people and partners or students or whatever it may be that they find all their land off Facebook Marketplace. They're going to do
Oh, good
24
idea.
deals this year, and they can find everything on Facebook Marketplace. I've worked with other guys that only find from wholesalers. They've found a group of wholesalers that can send them great deals, and they do that all day long. Me personally, we send out direct mail, and so we'll send out mail to landowners and get those people to respond. And people need to sell land for one reason or another. Maybe they inherited it. Maybe we had a seller who had a tax bill they needed to pay, and they had a piece of extra vacant land. So there's lots of different ways, and every once in a
Yeah,
while you can find it on the MLS. And in some markets, you can
sure.
find all the land you need on the MLS.
Right, yeah. So, okay, I found a piece of land. First thing or I found a piece of potential land. Next thing I want to do is probably call planning and zoning in that town and say, hey,
That's
listen,
right.
looking at this piece of land, 123 Main Street, here's what I want to do, which is actually put a manufactured home on it. Can I do it? Would you guys let me do it? What do I need to do for you to let me do it? Right? Like, do I have to
Right. Right.
change any zoning? I mean, if it's already in a residential neighborhood or residential area, I mean, you can easily check the zoning code online. You don't need to call for that
Yeah.
and search what it means. But then, verify, right? Probably verify with the town.
Get it in writing.
Hey, in writing, yeah, get it in writing. Yes, you can build a manufactured home here, or no, here are the steps you need to do to be able to do that. So then, okay, so then that whole process could to take 30 to 60 days, especially if you have to meet in front of the board. They probably meet, maybe once or twice a month. You finally get their approval, or maybe it's already approved, and then buy the land. Okay, um, and then utilities could be the next hurdle, right? If it's
That's
on
right.
a or clearing and getting utilities there. So you got to work with. I mean, who are the different vendors or um, partnerships you work with? You have an architect, you have surveyor, you have
Yeah, I calculated it up the other day, and I think we work with about 12 different subcontractors,
yeah.
from the home builder to the grader, HVAC, decks, landscaping, electrical, trim out, brick masons, um, cleaners, to your point, surveyors. So yeah, there's a whole range of different subcontractors we work with to complete a project. We've been
Hmm.
lucky to have a great for the last several years. We've kind of settled on a really great set of contractors that we work with.
Yeah. Wow. And how many of these have you done in your career?
Um, let's see here. I own 25 mobile home parks, so that's where I got my start and kind of how I got my experience in the mobile home world. And then land home deals done about I think 100. I want to say 125, maybe somewhere around there,
That's
maybe
pretty cool.
150. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I everyone knows builder or flipper or developer doing like, large cul-de-sac developments, but I've never really spoken to anyone doing like land, just single, smaller pieces of land with very affordable housing. I mean, these are probably
Hmm.
small ranches or cottages you're putting on there. Um, yeah, that's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Where do you
it's
where do
great.
you where do you source your houses from? Is there like a specific company you go
Yeah,
through?
so there's several major manufacturers. The biggest is Clayton Homes, and they have factories all over the country, owned by Berkshire Hathaway.
Oh,
And
wow.
then Cavco would be another great manufacturer. Champion is a good manufacturer.
Interesting. Just writing some of these
But and
down.
there's probably
Um,
there's probably 20 more manufacturers across the country. Some independents that have one factory, and then there's the Clayton that I don't know how many factories they have, but it's a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, wow, that's interesting. So now one question I like to ask all of our guests is obviously you have a very impressive resume, you're a busy guy. Can you walk me through a day in the life of Robert, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed? Just walk me through your day, how productive, I'd love to see the, different ways people are productive, any tips and tricks, and overall just, kind of guidance.
Yeah, for sure. Every day is different. There's never a day that's the same, but generally, I'm going to meet with my project managers, project and staff that help to manage. I've got some people in the U.S. and then some people internationally, VA type employees. So we're going to meet on a regular basis, not every single day, but a couple days a week, and then other than that, talking with manufacturers, talking with subcontractors, building relationships, looking at new markets to maybe open up and do these in. Um, Meeting with partners. I partner with a lot of people on these, and so we'll meet with partners and have conversations about the projects. Where that might be updates, that could be looking at pro formas on a project in terms of what's happening and is it a profitable venture. um, what else? Um, yeah, I mean that's it, man. Every day is a little bit different. Some days
Hmm.
I'll spend like Friday. I was all day on the road looking at projects, and I don't do that very often because I got a project manager that helps with that. But I wanted to go around and see all the projects, so we went around to 7, 8 projects, checked on the status of them, saw how they were coming along, so I could set my eyes on it and see what the status was. And then I also have a mobile home dealership, virtual mobile home dealership, where I sell homes to investors. And so we had an investor client that was accepting delivery of 2 homes. And so I was able to go to that site and see that delivery happen and meet with that investor client. They've purchased several homes from us, so it's nice to see them in person and see some of the subcontractors that we work with.
Very cool. Yeah, super busy. I love the niche that you're in. It's really
Yeah.
interesting. Well, Robert, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I learned a lot. I'm sure the listeners learned a lot. If people want to find more about you, where can they go?
So I've got a website, howellandsons.com. It's a great place you can get my phone number there, my email. You can see a little bit about what I do there, but Howell, Howell, and the word and sons.com.
Perfect. And we'll link everything in the show notes, down below. So, Robert, thank you again for all the listeners out there. If you like what you heard, be sure to like and subscribe. Sky's the Limit Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever your preferred listening avenue is. Be sure to give us a like and subscribe. So, Robert, thank you again. We'll be sure to connect after the show here. And thank you, thank you, thank you. It was really good.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Thank you for watching Sky's the Limit. We're always releasing new real estate content, so if there's something you want to hear, be sure to leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.